Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangerosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. This time we'll work to prepare a scene regarding a fluid logo. As you see, that's just a preview. And we'll prepare a complete fluid environment with a fluid logo, everything using particle flow and frost. So let's start. So let's start working at the first part of this tutorial series. And today we'll start to prepare the main particle setup, and we'll try to do part of the animation. So in the coming parts we'll work at the shading and lighting, and we'll try to finalize the animation. Let's check the scale. It's okay. We'll work in centimeters, and we can use a simple mesh. Let's use this one. And let's say that this one is maybe 3 centimeters. It's not important the scale there. We can say that we have a show at boxes and that's not renderable. Okay, so I'd like to use a path. So we'll start working on the top. Let's remove the grid using the G key, and we'll create a path I will create something not so complex, just to be sure that you can follow the tutorial in a really simple way. Okay, let's go there and let's say interpolation adaptive, and then we can work on the path to have the right position. Let's say that we'll use something like that. So you see I'm working to obtain something really smooth, and we'll try to go up and down again, and then really down. Okay, then up again. Okay, I like to try this path, and to use it we can pick the sphere. Let's decide to have let's try for the moment 300 frames. Then we go there for the animation, assign controller, and for the position we go for a path constraint, and we add this path. Let's close. So you see it is using this one. Perfect. Let's go there, let's say to have the following. Then let's scale it there. I'm trying to figure a good position. Okay, let's say that this one will be our camera, and the camera will be a free camera. or maybe we can go for a target camera. Then let's pick the target of our camera and let's go there. And the position can be a position constraint, and let's try to give as target the sphere. Okay, so you see it is following the sphere, and then the camera we'll have again we can try with a position constraint. But we'll use a position list, so we'll have the possibility to add more position. And there in the available one we use the position constraint. Let's set to active the constraint, add target, and keep initial. Let's see if okay, no, let's use the position, the path position, path constraint, and let's assign this one as path with follow, and then back there set active this one. And let's see, or maybe we can do a really simple thing. So let's go there and let's give just a link to the sphere, and let's pick again the camera target, and let's convert the camera to a free camera. Okay, you see that now we are following perfectly the sphere. Okay, then now I'd like to pick first of all I like to save the project so we are sure we are not losing anything, and let's call it 3ds Max particles fluid logo animation. Let's copy this name and then let's use the name. Okay, so let's start with a really simple particle flow system, and this one I have not so much space, but we'll try to do our best. For the moment I don't need the rotation and the speed and the shape, so let's use a position object, add the sphere, and let's say that it will emit for the moment until the end. We see all the particles, and back again there, let's say 250, So then let's use dots. Let's say that it will generate the movement, and let's say that we have 2500. Okay, let's check. In this way it is a little bit better, and I like to change the camera position. You see, I'm trying to stay maybe okay, so we have the particles going through the camera. Okay, then we need to make the particles dying. And we have to say also that the particles is burning before, let's say -25, so we have the particles there. So it is, you see, it is exploding in this way, and then it is emitting the particles. Okay, let's delete the particles after a while using the delete, and let's say by particle age, and let's say maybe 30 or 25. I think in general that it is too much fast. So rescale time, and let's go for 500. Okay, so you see now it is a little bit slower. Let's give more life to these particles, so we have time to create some strange structure. Okay, let's say 50, and let's say that we have 5,000 particles. So that's what we are creating. Okay, we can also maybe do something different, but I'm thinking to use this actual setup. Okay, let's try to use a spawning for just some particles. So let's say travel distance, and let's try with 10 centimeters, and let's say that just the 10% are spawnable, and let's use a display to see the particles. Okay, let's go in a perspective. Okay, we can decide to use just a splitting instead of this one. So let's go there and let's say split amount, and let's say 10%. Okay, so you see that part of the particles are splitting and stays on the place. And let's say 5%, and we'll use the circle. Okay, perfect. Then from these particles we'll have the spawning, and the spawning will be by seconds. Let's see if it is too much. It is a little bit too much. Let's save, and let's say that we have 2 spawning by seconds. Okay, they are too much, so let's say that we have just 1 spawn, and this spawn will have a speed. Let's say that we have speed. If you have it, you can use the speed, or if you have it, you can use the random walk. Okay, and the random walk will be slower, let's say maybe 50, and the noise sides will be let's say that 70, maybe 45. The variation will be 30, and the viscosity is okay. Let's try just to have some differences, and we'll have circle again. So you see the particles are going away after a while. Okay, and those particles will have the spawning, and this one will be travel by distance. Let's try first with 10 centimeters, and let's say that we'll use dots. Okay, it is working, and we have just to say to have maybe 65% of speed with 20% of variation, and maybe just 2% of divergence. Okay, let's try to have less divergence, and let's try to have a lower step. You see we are creating a strange structure all around, and I like just to have then the a drag. So let's go to create a drag, and this drag will be there until 500, and let's go at the beginning there, force by list drag. Let's see. Okay, back, and there we go for dots. Okay, let's see what we have from the camera point of view. the structure is still see it is we are moving inside. Okay, so let's go to check the animation there, and I like to slow down at the end. So we select the percentage and we have to assign a controller, and we go for a Bezier float, and we have the curve. Then we select the first point, will be just with acceleration, and there we have to slow down. Let's make a longer slow down. So we start with a nice speed, and we have just to check the curve. Okay, and close. Let's go back there and save, and I like to check something, and that's the random walk there. We have this speed. Let's say that the speed is higher, 85. So you see we have more speed to create structure, strange structure. Okay, and maybe the last point will be different. So let's change there to something like that. Let's see if it is better. Okay, so we stay in the middle of the chaos. Perfect, and save. And I like to try to do something else. So we have the spawned particles there, and I like to split some particles again. So copy, and the spawned one I like to paste there. So we have another splitting, and from these particles I like to have something like this random walk. So copy, paste, and we'll have different parameters. So let's say that maybe of this one we have just 2%, and there the display is tick. It's okay. Okay, you see that these particles are going all around, and I like to pick this one, have an higher speed, let's say 110, and the noise size is bigger, let's say 80, and the variation is okay, and the variation of the viscosity can be higher. Then we can check it. You see that it will create bigger structure. Okay, and in this structure we need again a force. So copy, paste, so they will slow down using the drag force. And let's say that we have dots, lines, and lines. and lines. Okay, and there I need to have again a spawn by travel. And later we'll see if it is okay or not. Let's use another display, and we'll use lines, and we can copy this one and paste assistance. So you see we are creating it is better to go with point, so dots, 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 and dots. Okay, let's check now what we have. You see that the structure is really strange, but we'll need for sure more particles. And we'll arrive there in the middle of this chaotic shape. Okay, let's save, and I like to set off this one, and let's say that when we stay there we'll find maybe this one can stop to emit particles. Let's say at 400. Okay, then there I like to have another sphere, I will put it there. It will be more little, something like that. Okay, and this one will be let's say with more segments. Let's say that we have a noise, and the noise is animated, and we'll use higher value. We have to make some tests obviously with a lower scale, and then we can have lower value. Let's stay to this one. It is obviously too much. Let's say 5, 5, and 5. Okay, a little bit more, 10, 10, and 10. Let's say that the frequency is lower. Okay, we'll try with a lower scale. Let's try with 15. Okay, so we have more turbulent movement. Okay, and let's say that it's stay there for the moment. And I like to make it not renderable, and we set in this way. And we need another particle flow, and this one will be set to on. We have no rotation actually, and let's say not speed, and we have the position object, this one. The particles are there, let's say from 400. Okay, and the particles stay on the surface, and the surface is animated. Okay, so you see the particles are attached. We have dots. Okay, and let's say that we have not so much particles. Maybe we can say 12, 50, and I like to make some tests around this kind of stuff. Then let's say that the particles will have a speed by surface and the surface is this one. We have obviously to set to unlock. Okay, the particles are going away. Let's say continuous, and let's go parallel to surface. Okay, and I made a shape. Let's say that the acceleration is 15 centimeters and that the speed is 10 centimeters. Okay, you see the particles are moving over it, and now we can say that we have 600 frames, but obviously we have to move this key there. Now it is updating the particles. And let's see what happened with the particles. The particles still move over the surface. Okay. And the particles will have a spawning. And the spawning will have a display to be visible. And the spawning will be by travel distance. Let's start with 5 centimeters, and we'll have 75% with 25% with no divergence for the moment. Let's see. Okay, then we need a delete. After a while, let's say after maybe 25 with a variation of 5. And let's see again what happened. Okay, we can give more life to those particles, let's say 45, and we'll have dots. Okay, we can have still more life, 85%, 85 frame. And I like that the particles will use a speed by surface as this one. Let's say copy and paste, so we can decide if we need it with the dying with the same speed or not. Okay, I prefer maybe to use a random walk, or you can use a speed with a wind for the turbulence. So let's go to have a random walk there instead of this one, also to speed up everything. Let's say that the speed is 25, the noise size is maybe 10, and let's see what happened. Okay, let's try with more particles, so 2, and the random walk will be more little. Let's try with 5. We'll have a little bit of variation, and we'll have an high viscosity with a little bit of variation. Okay, we need the drag there, so we can copy from there. Right mouse button, copy, and paste there. So you see, it is a little bit better. Let's try to see with more spawning. Let's go for 1 with maybe 2 offstrings and a little bit less speed, 75%. Okay, you see it is better. Okay, perfect. Then I like to pick the camera. So let's go in the camera point of view and let's check what happened. We have this one following, moving, and there is something that must be fixed. Okay, so let's set 2 of the second particles there. Let's pick the sphere, the animated sphere, and let's move it in front of the camera a little bit, do something like that. Shows a frame, but let's set our resolution, and we are talking about 900, 400, and lock. Okay, so that's what we'll see. Let's go for shaded, and we are following the sphere, and following and following, and this one is animated. But I like to check the animation there for the sphere and the noise, and I like to have this one as linear, and there I like to have maybe 850. So we are following. Okay, perfect. Inside this sphere we'll have our logo. So this one will be obviously not visible at the beginning, and we'll have no particles at the beginning. So let's say that this one, or maybe we can animate it later. So let's save and go back there and set on the particle number 2 and the particle number 1. So let's see what happened. We have particles and particles. You see the structure, it is starting to be created more and more complex. And then we'll arrive there with the structure still moving on the back Okay, this one will be let's say, let's assign a transparency to this one. Let's say that this one is the sphere and the opacity is really low. Let's say maybe 5, or maybe we can say 0 there. Let's set again to off the particles to be faster, and then we have auto key, and let's say that there it is still 0, and then there is 100. So we have no visibility, and then we have it. But we have to fix this parameter. Let's select this one, and we go to the material, shader basic, diffuse, and extend it, and you see we have to move this parameter there to 10, so we'll have the right animation. So we have no visibility, and then at the end it is visible. Okay, let's create what will be our logo. So let's go there and let's say text, and we'll write something like Max Cookie, and the size will be something around 10 centimeters with Calibri. But you can use the font you like. Let's go to have this one. Let's rotate by 90 degrees. So we'll have the text at the end there, and we can use an extrude just to have the right shape. So you see we'll be animated, and then we'll go there. Okay. We can make also the Max Cookie logo appearing, but we'll see how much time we have to do something like that. Let's imagine now that we like to finalize the particles, and to do something I like to have, for example, 10,000 there for the amount, and in the spawning there in the event tree, let's set 2 centimeters for the step size, and the same for the event 5, 2 centimeters. So we'll have more particles, and you can see that we'll have, it will be slower obviously in viewport, but you see that the structure is more complex. Okay, back there and save. Let's imagine that we like to see something. We can, for example, use the particle instancing in particle flow, or we can use frost, because we'll have to use frost at the end. So we can set frost a really fast setup, and first of all we can, for example, add particle flow source 2, and let's go to check how it works. So let's go. Okay, then there in the frost we say also to add the sphere, and we say to use lower scale to something like that. And let's say that we are using something like maybe the Turbulence, and you see we'll have something like this fluid, but will be obviously we have to work on this one to obtain the right shape. If we use another algorithm as this one, let's try to have, for example, 8 centimeters, maybe 2 centimeters, and you see that we are obtaining something. Let's go for 1 centimeters. Okay, you see we have something with fluid effects. We have to tune all the parameters, so we have to find the right way to do it. and let's say that this frost will have the same shader there, and let's say that the particle flow source 2 is set to known, and to known also there, so we see just the mesh. Then back and save to be sure, and we have to set again visible this one, and we can set another frost. This one will be really heavy because we have a lot of particles, and add particle flow source 1, and for this one maybe it is better to use just the union of sphere. So let's go to have maybe 0.3. Okay, so we have the particles there, and let's go for example at 125, maybe 200, $250. I'm just trying to find a frame where we have the structure. And still nothing. Let's go for 300. Okay, you can see it there. And there we'll have the visibility for this mesh. To speed up, we can say, for example, to use geometry, and we can say to use sphere. We can remove the particles, this one, so it will be set to known. Sorry. Please remember to set again back visible the particles if you need to play with it. Okay, so you see now we are seeing just the, let's call it the bubbles. So let's go for example at 350. And we have nothing there. But now we can create a preview so we can check how it looks together. Okay, let's go for shaded and create. So let's check the result. Obviously it will be really rough and we have to tune a lot of parameters. You see that maybe the general speed is really high, so we can slow down the animation, because in this part where it is slowing down it is better. We have to fix this part. And then I like to add more fluid all around there, the sphere. But again, I think we have to fix general speed up. Maybe we can remove some part of the animation, or maybe we have just to slow down and then we have to fix this curve there. And then I like to make more fluids around the sphere. So we'll have to tune all these parameters in next part of this tutorial, and then we have to start working on the lighting and shading to finalize the project. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.